Hello.
Good day.
Actually, I think I have to.
Hmm?
Hello, can you hear me still? Good. Can you talk and I'll see if I can hear you?
Why would I why would I start talking? Neil never talks.
He'll never talk.
But the only time my talking comes up in conversation is Neil's being very quiet. Something must be going on.
So, welcome to today's bite-sized trust video. Antitrust policy applies. Members must be members of trust over IP. We're a quiet, small group, so it's not. Mm.
Whatever.
We will follow the agenda, which is symposium, there's an all members meeting coming up this week.
Uh-huh.
And also on the agenda is then the next scripts. And if Drummond shows up, we'll go into the key scripts. And if Scott Full shows up, we'll go into the governance scripts. And then otherwise, I will end the meeting early. Oh, Scott's here. Hello, Scott.
Good morning.
So I will put in the chat. This morning, I just published the last of the second chunk of trust array bite-sized trust videos.
Okay.
And let me just pull up the screenshot of the numbers. Hello, Aaron. I just posted in the chat
Doing what? You doing what in the chat?
I just posted in the chat. I posted this morning the last of the bite-sized trust videos. So there in the chat are all of the videos. And
Oh, thank you.
yep, and then just right now, real quick. This is the back end of the videos. So the highest watching has been resolving a did document with almost 800 views. The
Mm-hmm.
most likes was self-certifying identifiers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our numbers
Good.
for, and like I said, I just published this one about an hour ago. Hey.
Very good.
Mhm. Wait, did I share it? Did you see it?
I think I think I saw it in the Slack, maybe.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was sharing the damn screen.
You are.
You are.
Oh, it still is now?
Yeah.
Okay. Because now it says it's not sharing. Okay, I'm gonna unshare now. Huh, I have a bug. Because I can't unshare my screen now.
Hmm.
So what, you still see the channel content?
Yep.
Damn it. Okay, let me try this. Which should still be the same thing.
Yeah, this screen moved down a tick. So something did something.
Yeah, but I can't unshare. I can't stop sharing. Okay, this is a problem. Okay then. For bite-sized trust, then I will. No. Come on. So you can still see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
See.
You see Google Doc.
Yeah, okay. Again, those were the videos, and latest ones are passkeys and keys and DIDs, which I started working on. Has anyone here familiarity with the concept of linkability in DID documents?
No.
So here, does this make sense? Here's an important consideration. If you put all your keys in the same DID document, any party that resolves the DID can see them all. That can create linkability, meaning actions across different services could be correlated. To preserve privacy, you may choose separate keys, not only for purpose, authentication or assertion or key agreements, etc., but also by relationship. In practice, this means you might use multiple DIDs. In fact, I would say in practice, it means you will most likely have multiple DIDs, one for each key or one per service or trust relationship, rather than consolidating everything into a single DID document. This
So you
separation,
switch from let me see, wait. If you put all your keys in the same DID document, any party that resolves can see them all, and that
yep,
could create linkability,
yep,
meaning actions across different sources could be correlated. To
yep,
preserve privacy, you choose to separate. So here you go from you may choose to separate keys,
mm-hmm.
and then you talk about a DID document.
Okay, so okay, so you can put all your keys in the same DID document. So you may choose to have multiple keys.
In multiple documents?
Uh, yes, you may choose to use multiple DIDs, one for each key or one per service or trust relationship, rather than consolidating everything into a single DID document.
I think a different way of putting that would be is, you've got two that just struck me at this point that you've got two ways of linkability. One is you use the same DID for everything, and the
Mm-hmm.
other one is you use the same key in multiple cases,
Mm.
right? So you've got two vectors in terms of
Yeah. Yeah,
traceability.
because because you're saying if you put all your keys in the same DID document, and then you're saying, well, you can have separate keys, but if they're in the same DID document,
Yeah.
so you need separate
Okay.
keys and separate DID documents, or what?
Uh,
Well, the
you
real
need,
question here is whether, I mean, you've got two trade-offs here. One is somebody says thou shalt use that DID for all communication with government, right?
yeah.
So you've certainly got governments pushing that. So if you're restricted as to the DIDs you've got, then you want to get linkability. You need to be constantly rotating your keys, right? Um,
You know what? I don't even think that's a good point. I don't even think it's like reusing passwords. You
mhm.
shouldn't be reusing keys like you shouldn't be reusing passwords. And it's probably so outside of their minds that they're not even thinking about reusing keys. Possibly also because in the use case, it's like when you create a DID document, it's going to generate that new key set for that DID document anyway. So it's going to be technically hard to reuse keys because it's not like a password where you just remember it and type it out like you did all the other times.
So how do you want to get into that? You want to get into that in this little
Yeah.
bite-sized thing, or something?
Yeah. Let's
I,
see. Yeah.
what strikes me is sort of like the flip, as a paper that covers the trade-offs here, because we've just in a quick conversation, broadened out all sorts of aspects that I'm sort of pulling, in my own head, coming together in my own head for the first time, because trying to do that in bite-sized bits is going to be, I think, a bit of a stretch. It'd be easier to have a paper than the bite-sized pieces point out the different aspects of it.
Honestly, I think so Linux Foundation was asking about can you take all the bite-sized trust and turn it into a Linux Foundation training course, which would probably be where this would be very suitable for. Okay, and of course,
Hi,
Don't
Tomas.
reuse keys for.
Hi, Rick.
Hello.
Hi, Carly. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, hello. So here, so I've got did documents can also contain capability delegation keys. And finally, capability invocation keys are the pair of capability delegation, which are used to actually exercise those delegated capabilities. Of course, same as for passwords, don't reuse keys for different services.
So yeah, maybe you kind of round it off after that, and you just really stick to the keys and say, in the next video, we'll talk about um, correlation, linkability considerations, and just have
Okay. Okay.
something like that.
And or something that introduces the topic is a minute, and then a bunch of separate ones that get into the details.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because this is the
Yeah, you
I-
may need to end that one. I mean, that one's not the keys and dids. You probably want to wrap that up, summarize or
yeah.
some way to wrap it up. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I will get ChatGPT to propose a few ways to end it, and then I will select and edit from
But
there.
you're the expert.
Yeah, but I acknowledge that ChatGPT does better pithy wrap-up sentences than I do. Linkability concerns. So here's another thing. If you're familiar with I haven't, I'm trying to go through the did document, did specification because I have a bunch of security concerns at the end. So when I list the controller for the did document itself, I don't give a key. Instead, I give a did identifier for the controller of the did document, which may be self-referencing, but that did controller may also exist in another document. So if I've got 10 different did documents with 10 different keys for 10 different services, but they all list the same controller did, now you know that that controller did is linked to those 10 different services and 10 different identities. I don't think I've seen that discussed. So now I need 10 different controller documents for 10 different did documents that are logging in keys for logging into a single service. Anyone familiar with that? Heard about that before? Okay, so I'm trying to get to talk with Marcus Sabadello. I sent an email. He wants to talk. We have to find a time, and then I can get all the questions I have ever wanted to ask about did documents. And
I mean, at some point, I think you have to give people permission, or they can't just go like find random documents and start linking them. They have to be able to access the system that those dids and documents are used, and so I think there's some external control, shouldn't there be?
oh, that's interesting. Because on a WebEx or whatever, I don't have to. So I could I, I could incriminate Neil by saying the controller of my did document is Neil, and look at all the nasty things he signed with the key before I rotated the controller ID, of which there is no history on less secure did documents like did web.
Yeah, well, it's like, keys to a lockbox, right? You've got lockboxes within lockboxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's certain dids you do not expose to the outside world whatsoever. You use it for internal management and key
Right,
rotation.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So I could specify did key and then there's you can't resolve it to anything. And then in my wallet I've got the key associated with that did key, which is the controller for that did document.
Now you're getting there.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be public. And then the uh one of the other challenges, so if you are familiar with diff, they are building a table of features for did methods so that you can look at the did method and evaluate to determine if it meets your security requirements and stuff.
Yep.
And the reason they're doing that is because there's so many different did methods that they want to make it easier, like to recommend. If you could recommend from that list to say, for meeting these security requirements, we recommend that that we standardize on the following did methods. And yeah, so one of the I was surprised that it wasn't in the did specification, but it makes sense with something like did key or did peer or whatever. But it's not required that you should be able to analyze the entire history of the did document to establish cryptographic continuity like one can with a blockchain like Bitcoin, where each block is referencing the next block, and you can go through and verify all the calculations that it hasn't been tampered with. So I had expected that kind of security. It's acceptable in DIDs, but not required in DIDs. So I was really surprised that that wasn't
But
a
it's just
thing.
an identifier.
Yeah, I know.
It's not a data container. Well, I mean, are we, sorry, are we going to today talk, is this symposium this meeting as well, or is this
Oh,
just?
yes. I wondered why Thomas was here. Okay, can somebody else share a screen so that my screen can stop being shared?
Yeah.
Because I've got a bug, Thomas, that my screen just won't
It
unshare.
says you cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing.
That's right.
Okay.
That's what it says. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave and I will come back.
Okay. Okay.
So,
I can share my screen if you like.
yeah.
Because I just basically have our symposium here.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know, I didn't mean to just jump in and ask Carly if we can use this for the symposium planning, but thanks, Eric, also for mentioning it. And
Sorry, I
you know,
forgot.
I don't want to just jump in, but feel free. We can continue other topics as well. Yeah.
Well,
So
let's use this time.
okay, great. I did want to ask, was there how many submissions did we get? Were there any submissions on the CFP? Because we started, you know, promoting it now. I asked our marketing to share it on LinkedIn and X, and so on, right? So just to see where we are with that.
Okay, so as of right now, for day one, we have one 30-minute talk request. No, we have 4 requests for day one.
Okay. Okay.
And on day 2, we have 1 request for an hour-and-a-half symposium.
Okay. Okay, great.
And I'm going to be submitting one, and I haven't done that yet, so there's going to be 5.
Okay, great. Another request, and Carl is also okay. And now we have the landing page that's being promoted, and I was thinking that I could create a registration page there as well. Right, so I could do it. If nothing else, I could do it for the first day, because it's going to be, as we said here, it's a continuous stream of presentations, right? So we could go and have one registration link for that, and then we see how many people are registered, and we can share it also on the web page, right? It's a bit easier to promote if we have this sort of, you know, register now option. But for that, we would need to have also the beginning time, right? So what time are we thinking this is going to start? And then that could be the first registration.
Um, I think what is the earliest that West Coast North America would think is, not stupid?
Right. So good question. I can share my experience from the webinars that we are doing with LF Decentralized Trust for. So typically what we find drives the most attendance is 7 a.m. Pacific, which is 10 a.m. Um, the
East Coast.
East Coast, and then but
Three.
it's a bit early maybe, but on the other hand, the Europe is then mostly Central European time. It's 4 p.m., which is nice for people to join, and we can include India, which is a large part of our communities there.
7:30 p.m.
Don't-
Yeah, yeah,
right.
exactly.
This one we find we have the most. So, and then obviously South America, Africa, we always get some people from there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Japan and Australia are not that. But then again, if it's the whole day symposium, you could start
Right.
later
And
as
so
well.
if we say 7 a.m. start,
Mhm.
and then we have, what were we saying? Is it 8 hours? I mean, that's a lot. What did we say we're going to be?
It's a lot. So I think one of the things that we sort of left open-ended was that we said, let's see how many submissions do we have, and then we can put the program sort of
Right.
together. So right
Yeah.
now what we have here is the intro for 45 minutes, steering committee that's then hour and a half in total.
Right.
Then we said 30 to 1 hour presentations, right? So if
Yeah.
Carly says that we have right now 4 requests, and I don't know, I
For
guess
1 hour, for 1 hour
for
requests.
1 hour.
I don't think it's bad if we go for a long time. It's not because we're recording everything and we're crossing different time zones.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, so there's going to be some handoffs, right? If some people in Europe want to take the early control of um, the platform, right? Because somebody's got to open it, but then they won't want to sit there all day, and somebody else is going to have to take over. And it could start before the West Coast is up, so we get more of an Asia Pacific, but only if we get Asia Pacific, like if there's interest there. And so because
Yeah.
but anyway, I don't know if
I agree with that, Eric. That's what we do with all our webinars. It's really our member that's doing it tells us which is the target market that they want to do, and then sometimes we do it, much earlier, or
Right.
very late, Eastern time, so they can join, right? But I'm just saying, like, that 7 a.m. Pacific is let's say, the broadest that we can get. However, I agree, like targeting part, if that's the case, then that would make sense as well.
Right. Okay, so in any case, there's going to have to be some handoffs, and like, Tomas, where are you based? Are you in?
I'm in Boston.
Okay, so you're in US.
Mhm.
If because we need somebody to be able to go on and get the official Zoom platform up and running, and controls and recording and all that, right? And that
Yeah,
would be
I can
you?
do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that because that's for me quite convenient. And even if it runs for 8-9 hours, I can just, prolong it. It's 10 a.m.
Okay.
is actually very easy for me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Um,
All right, that helps.
yeah. So, yeah, and these are, let's say, general ideas, right? General points. So I don't know. We just, I think, need to decide on the start, right? So that's really up to you. And I agree, Eric. Definitely, we need to have handoffs. But I can be in the background for all of that, for live streams, for asking any questions, and then later on our marketing I check with them. Maybe I should have started with that also regarding the talk we had last time about having to, multiple different sessions, to cut them and upload them separately to YouTube. And they said it's not a problem. We can slice them and dice them however we want. So even if we have one huge stream for 8 hours, we can do it in, whatever sections we want. So
Okay, great.
yeah. So yeah, I guess we need to have now maybe it would make sense if you all agree with this sort of, let's say, at least the general things. I can set up our registration for 7 a.m. Pacific, but really up to you. I'm not pushing for it either way. And then say and like put like this, like little teaser agenda, just these first two sessions, and then more sessions after the more CFPs come in, right?
Yeah.
And I can add them, right, whenever they're going to be approved and right. I can keep adding them. So also for other people that see, what sort of how much in depth should I go? What sort of how do the sessions looks like? Blah blah. It's helpful so they can see what somebody else is doing as well.
Yeah. Okay. I would say, I don't know what you guys think, but I would just reverse the sessions. I mean, and start with reflections and then the panel and then jump into a panel after that. But although an opening panel is, a little bit more dynamic, but I think just from the narrative perspective, we'd want to reflect on last 5 years and then talk about, where the next 5 years. I don't know what you guys think.
Well,
That could be rolled in with in session 2, reflections on the 5 years in the past and the 5 years in the future. We can talk about that with.
Because one thing that we are preparing, I'm preparing it with Maki and Drummond, is a sort of a recap summary of where trust over IP has come in the past 5 years. And so a little bit of an introduction, how the space is evolving and maturing, the actors, and that kind of stuff. So I don't know where that's going to go, but it should be pretty early. Anyway,
I would have said if you start if you lead with the next 5 years without knowing the base on which that was built, it's going to be kind of hard to say if you left a gap. Right. So if you don't start saying, here's where I mean, it basically, in my own mind, it's like, here's a reflection of the last 5 years. We've accomplished this. We haven't done that. That leads into what's the next 5 years? What are the gaps we're tackling? So if you put the next 5 years for anybody who's trying to get up to speed, it's going to be, okay, those are a bunch of new topics. I'm not sure how they relate to what I know.
Yeah, I honestly, session 1 and session 2 are kind of like switched. Here's fast and here's where we're going.
Yeah, do you agree with that, Tomasz?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do that.
Okay. And I can just yeah.
Super, thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay. Okay, and then for the next one, I can just say, yeah, it's going to be. Just one question. Do I understand correctly that then actual final sessions will be chosen all at once the deadline for the submission is over, which is now prolonged to
End of the month, is that right?
end of the month, right? Yeah, that's right.
I think that's, yeah, so you're right. I mean, do we put some things up there and right now over the next week just so that people see some examples of content, but then confirm once we've got all the submissions in, we'll sort of curate if needed.
Yeah.
Are there any particular themes that we're wanting to do? Because that might assist people in terms of, what kind of talks they need to think about. Saying here's some of the, and it could be here's the next 5 years, or here's stuff in the last 5 years. So I think the particular themes would assist.
Yeah, I think we were thinking in terms of themes, and then we end up saying whoever's got something that's working and ready to show. And so I think that's kind of the theme is what's production ready, what is, where we're trying to gain adoption, but I can't think of what theme it would be without seeing those topics. Maybe Carly, what are the 4 ones that we've got?
Sorry, the four, yeah. Give me a second. So we've got first person project,
Yep.
trust spanning protocol,
Yep.
VLEI, agent protocols over TSP.
All right, yeah, the T, so, and then trust spanning protocol, and then glyph, and then
Yeah.
agents, all right.
Over TSP. And we wanted to see concepts and terminology is going to be doing a workshop about how to use spec up T
On day 2,
on day 2. What was my other title? Hands-on workshop for developing AI agents based on MCP over TSP.
right,
So that's looks like probably a
Wenjin,
Wenjin thing.
right,
And yeah, so the concepts and terminology spec up T, and I was thinking about doing like DID identifiers and research opportunities,
so
research ecosystem.
for day 1, then
Yeah,
it's interesting because you've got people, organizations, and agents so far.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a nice diversity.
little story.
Carly, I'm sorry, I didn't get to write it down. Would you mind mentioning again which ones we know that will be there,
Yeah.
or you can just add them to the doc, whatever is quickest for you.
We don't know that they'll be, I mean, it's most likely the Ecosystem and Governance Working Group meeting on
Mhm.
October the 2nd will review all of the proposals and
Okay.
formulate the preliminary agenda to be stamped by the steering committee.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our next meeting is the 2nd.
Because I think that would be a nice nice thing maybe to add also to the landing page. Just sort of again, did we say registration topics you expect to be covered? Maybe this one could be
Yeah, a couple of bullet points.
couple of bullet points exactly.
Okay.
First person project.
Yeah, identities for people, identities for agents, identities for.
Yeah, well, we want to be sure we don't want to make it look like it's only identity, but
Yeah,
Right,
okay,
right.
yeah.
trust ecosystems for agents, the human trust, whatever. But yeah, so we'll get that to you, Tomasz.
Okay,
as,
super.
some
Thank you.
holding text for the landing page.
Great. Because then I think I showed it last time, but maybe just to that's not the one that I'm looking for. See. So I was thinking of adding the boxes sort of like this. I think I shared it before,
Right.
sessions, and then we have just so people can see what was done, right? And again, I push or anything. I know it still has to be decided, but that's I think is a nice for anybody to registering. So what should I expect, right? And maybe I want to see this session, but not that session. But yeah, okay, great.
Okay, good.
Okay, and then this one I was thinking I could just do then, as I mentioned, like one long session, and I'll do the registration accordingly. And then for the day 2, so that's what we discussed would be sort of parallel tracks, right? That would run at the same time.
Possibly. I mean,
Okay.
I think we want to
Yeah.
leave that possibility open,
Uh-huh.
but at the moment,
Because we have some presentations that, well, we had said like an hour and a half, I think 90 minutes. Wenjing's thing was already at the max of 90 minutes.
Oh, okay, okay. Jink. What did it do? Yeah, because Daniela also suggested, she said maybe if we can do it, would be the best to have one track or maximum two, so people can follow everything.
Yeah.
And obviously it's the least work with the back end stuff, right? I mean, you can have separate ones, right? But then there would be somebody else aside from me need to live stream the other ones or like record them if they want to record that. I know it's not all of them, right? But yeah, I noted that we'd like to also keep this option open and then we can return to it. But just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we try to, as much as we can, to get them without overlapping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay. So from my end, I think that it's been very helpful. So I'm gonna set up this registration. And whenever you have any sort of other information, and I'll join all the calls, right? So we can
Okay.
I'll be in the loop when everything's being done, right? So
Right.
and then I would just suggest adding those
Yeah,
as
those
we go.
topics.
So yeah.
So are you, so you'll get the registration set up, but you won't do a push until we get a couple of example topics in there, is that right? Or will you do a push? Or is there going to be some sort of notification that registration is now live, or should we hold off on that?
So I would suggest that it's actually, thank you for asking that, Erica. It's actually something we need to discuss. I would suggest maybe just saying, registration is live, you can register just to see the level of interest. And, I think more registrations will come in anyway once the program is up because we'll see who it is, right? But just for us basically to get a sense what's the level of interest, and it will also help us push more, right? Because then I will ask, I just asked our marketing to, now it's on LinkedIn and Twitter or X, whatever. All right. I think somebody asked about Blue Sky. I need to check that with them. And then we see, I'll check, Arlie. Sorry, I totally forgot. But I know we had something with on the Blue Sky as well. And then as we go, we can just push it more and more and see how many people we get. And I hope also that will drive the CFPs as well, right? At the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's okay with you, I mean, otherwise we can hold off as well.
No, I think that's right. I just don't want, I was thinking you don't want to be held up by us waiting to get these 3 topics. And but that won't hold you up. You'll still be able to get the registration mechanics embedded.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Good. And then we'll try to get those topics to you as soon as possible so that when people do land, they'll see something.
Okay, great. And I'll do on my end. I think I saw some additional push. I think Carly, you posted also on the Slack channel for more people to submit, right? And I will continue. And again, if that's okay with you, to ask our marketing to sort of we just did it last week, but maybe in 2 weeks' time, and like keep it going.
It's going to be on the all members meeting as well.
Okay.
That's this Wednesday. Slide decks up. So Thomas, then we'll see you on October 2nd during that meeting when we will go through. Okay.
Okay. But of course, if my door is always open, if there's anything in the meantime, just let me know. And we can also have a call and so on.
Great.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. See you, Tomas.
See you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
From Carly, guys, I have to leave as well. So, but I will see you on these. I think we've got a call tomorrow, don't we? Ecosystem. So, okay. All right.
Okay,
See you
good.
guys.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Yeah, so I'm gonna go for 9 more minutes and I'm gonna cut it off at 10:02 for bite-sized trust. Then back to back to the script. So that was a good so I'll write some stuff about wrap up sentence linkability. Okay, yeah, then the did could be back to a did key because I think in Blue Sky they were I have to read did PLC was putting controllers into a second key, but I have to look at that a bit more. What do you know anything, Neil, about
No, I haven't looked at it.
yeah, okay.
Well, like I said, I mean, certainly the overall decentralized trust principle is, you set up individual relationships with specific
Yeah,
pairwise DIDs and all that, but the government's going, no, 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 we like our social insurance number kind of thing. We want you
yeah.
to use a symbol, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Which
when you,
maybe for connecting to a government is one thing. They would want my identity to be reserved across. Hello, Thomas. Yeah,
Hi. Sorry, I forgot to ask one thing. I see
yeah,
Eric has also dropped.
yeah,
While setting up a registration, I can ask people a couple of questions. And
right.
typically what we do for
Demographics,
webinars
yeah,
is asking, I don't know, what are your interests, what is your job level, because we ask them for, maybe to join LFDT, and then,
yeah,
who
yeah,
who is it? Is it just a academic student maybe, or is it somebody that's decision maker? But
yeah.
it could be any type of questions. So do you know already, or what kind of questions could I ask
No,
there?
that's a good
No.
question.
Okay.
If Scott is here, maybe Scott, do you have any I don't know if Scott can hear this, any kind
Yes,
of
I can hear you. Yes. So
demographic
I have
question?
been, say that again. I'm sorry.
So when people are registering to come to the symposium, we have the option of adding a few questions onto the registration, which would give us a better idea about the demographics.
Okay.
So we would need to give Thomas some demographic questions and
Okay.
to appear on the registration. How do we want to do that? And like, or should we ask should with the steering committee, like Thomas, you're putting this up today, right? So
Yeah, I can.
who's
I can hold. I mean, it's this one
yeah,
day wouldn't make a difference. I can post on the Slack as well. If you would
Yeah.
prefer that, so
yeah,
everybody can chip
I
in.
think that would be the
yeah,
best and easiest way to deal with it,
yeah.
is to get some dialogue with everybody out of that channel.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, I'll do that then, and then yeah, sorry, I forgot to ask, but I think it's always good, especially if it's a lot of people, you can get good data from it. So
Can you, in that post, can you give some examples? Maybe you can say typically for previous events, we have asked and give 3 example questions or
yeah,
something.
yeah, absolutely. I can do that.
Yeah,
I just have to say that it depends on the event. You have different types of
yeah,
questions, right?
no,
But I can give a couple of examples, absolutely.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, great.
great, thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, 5 more minutes before we finish up here. So unless you wanna, we can finish up early too. That's not a problem. I was just going through uh because Neil, the did document doesn't it just lets you label keys as authentication keys, but it doesn't let you say this authentication key is for Google and this authentication key. Like you can't assign authentication keys to use cases or whatever. From what I have read going through the did spec, which was also not what I was expecting, but it makes sense, especially if you're going to be like one did per service.
well, that was always my understanding, right?
Yeah,
You're going to have DIDs you're going to use for deep plumbing stuff that you never want
yeah,
to expose.
yeah,
And you've got a hierarchy of them with up to the point where if I'm doing daily transactions, I want to rotate the keys every day, and I'm only
Yeah.
going to use it in pairwise circumstances.
And you don't want to use a did key for your controller of your did document because you can't rotate a did key. It's like you need something else.
Yeah, so again, you've got dids that are only used for, core. And you got a did that you only use to rotate because it's a controller of everything. You only use it to,
Yeah.
I mean,
If you want to avoid a correlation, you have to have a separate did controller for every single.
well, it would
Did
be,
document.
I
It's a
think it'd
different
be
one.
an interesting problem to throw it to AI and say, okay, so what does this graph look like? Here are the kinds of uses I have, right? And say,
Yeah.
what would you recommend in terms of, which dids are never see the light of day? How many should I have? What kinds of purposes and considerations should I think about?
Yeah.
I think that would be an interesting exercise.
Okay, so I have split the split keys even further. I I guess I'm going to be having a whole bunch more did specific bite-sized trust videos, but that's okay. I wanted to have this because this is like, what is the did good for? Like, why? Okay, great. I have an identifier. What can I do with it downstream and lay it out for me? Because everybody's like,
Well,
oh, it's like secure communication or, but what?
well, I already had some interesting investigations looking at this traveler profile. So, does it have a did? Yes, it's an object. Sure, it should have it. But in to build a bridge, it needs another kind of unique identifier that is not a did. So because there's a whole, so if this information is going to be available, as a signed document, cryptographically signed document for legacy systems, then you got to play it a little differently, right? So,
Okay, I'm gonna keep working on scripts. Of course, it's up there if anyone else wants to add scripts. I'm curious about Scott. Scott had the nice baseball analogy, sports analogies for governance
Yeah.
concepts. So
I've thought through it, and depending on some things that are happening this week and all the other stuff I'm doing, I may have time.
yeah.
But
What you
I
could also
have kind
do.
of, I did, kind of map it out a little. Did spend some time, and I did map out kind of the outline. So I know it's on my plate, and
You
I
can
hope
throw that
that.
into Chat GPT. Like you could take your outline points and just so what I've done on Bite Size Trust is I've taken my outline points and then I throw it into Chat GPT and I say, write me a script for spoken, entirely spoken for a YouTube short, make it accessible, and then that's the first draft that I start working on. So and then I go back and fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question is do we have two bites I trust? One is the introduction of governance by using baseball.
Yeah.
And then do we use then the second one of walking through the governance meta model?
Yeah. Your introduction to bite-sized trust using baseball, I think that's like 5 or 6 short videos because it's just like one idea per like a minute each kind of thing. Because you had like the umpire. So the umpire is just a short bite-sized trust in a governance system. You need to have an
Okay,
umpire. The umpire does this in the governance meta model or whatever in a governed ecosystem. The umpire is your this role and they do this, and then that would be the end of one script.
okay. All right.
So
So I guess the thing is, let me just map it out and see how many bites it makes sense to do. Okay.
okay,
All right.
sounds
All
good.
right. I gotta go.
Yeah,
So
we're going
thanks.
to.
All
Thank
right.
you very
Sounds
much,
good. Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye.